Okay, so this is one of the first decks we're going to go through. This is the Necron, the Silent King, and it's a swamp deck. And I believe, I don't know, am I going to be the first one to play this one, or are you going to play this one first?
Oh, I'm going with Tyranids first.
Ah, all right. Well, we'll see. But first, let's open it. Let's see what it comes with, and let's see what kind of cards we have going. So this is the first one. I don't know who's going to play it first, but we're going to go ahead and open it. We're going to look at the cards. We're going to see what kind of combos we might be able to find in it and see how this deck's going to work. So we're going to go ahead and open it and see what we have in here. Okay, so unboxing. Let's see what we got in here. Alright, so right out of the box, it comes with counters, which is really awesome. I love these little tokens so you can keep up with things. You have two different kinds. A Necron Swamp tokens, I guess is what it's going to be. Now, I don't know much about Warhammer 40k, but I know that you do, which is one of the reasons why I invited you to play this with me tonight, after knowing you for so many years and hearing you talk about Warhammer 40k. What is up with this right here while I'm unboxing this?
Okay, so those are just Necron icons, you know, because that's them giving up their flesh in the pursuit of immortality.
Okay, so they lock themselves into machines and support, they're basically living machines now.
Well, after devoting themselves to dark gods to get the immortality that they couldn't get in the first place on their own, yeah.
Alright, well we get some, we definitely have enough tokens to be able to count live and such. And then, let's see, what else does it come with? It comes with the deck box. Oh, here we go, right here. Alright, and the cards. It comes with this awesome deck box for our cards.
Oh, that's super cool.
Yeah, I like that. I like it better than some of the other ones that we've had. I like the little things on it. And it comes with a counter. Awesome. I'm going to be watching your counter go down today. Instructions. More tokens. Now, I've played Magic forever, but I've never gotten into what these big ones are for. I know, bad nerd. I don't know, do you know?
No, I mean, I recognize the Necron symbol, but I think these are just like little panels you can take out. As far as what they represent or whatever, that's anyone's guess.
It's pretty cool. Okay, so our commander is this guy right here. So
Zarek.
what do you think this deck is going to be like? What do you think is going to be in here just based on looking at it?
Well, it looks like it's going to be taking advantage of milling, so taking stuff from your library and putting it into your graveyard.
So
and
they're
then
probably maybe playing things from the graveyard.
Yeah, playing things from the graveyard or stopping things as they go into the graveyard and then playing them or using that for leverage.
Nice. All right, so let's get this open. And here is our commander. And then we've got this legendary creature right here. I don't know, can y'all see them, or is there too much light?
I think the best way to do this is going to be to change our camera angle so we can get a dead down look at the cards. You wanna...
Absolutely.
Okay, we'll hit this for a second. What's that?
All right, so this is the first one. Now, you know more about Warhammer 40k. I'm more of a Magic person, so this looks like it's going to be a milling deck or playing things out of our library, but...
Yeah, and Zarek, he's supposed to be the one who like follows the will of the star gods. He's kind of like the Necron version of Abaddon, but a spoiler, sort of.
Okay. Well, can I just point out this really awesome soul ring first?
Yeah, it looks like they have some classic cards in here with new art, which is cool.
Yeah, I definitely like this one better.
The flavor text on it is neat too, so that you get all the Warhammer 40k flavor with the old cards.
I love that. I might want to keep that one. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get rid of it. All right.
So let's see here. Harbinger of Despair. Okay, it looks like it punishes things for putting things into the graveyard. And they get extra counters for things dying.
Yeah, and unearth over there. Is that what it says? What
And things can enter from the graveyard. So we got
Yep.
unearth. So we
Oh
can
wait, you pay 2 life. So this is going to be a life. You lose 2 life, you draw 2 cards. So this is going to be kind of like a life drain slash.
It makes sense to make Necrons the black mana people, since they're bringing stuff back from the graveyard and all of that.
Yeah, I like that. I like how they incorporated that. They definitely picked the right color there, and I like the symbols.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we've got those, and then we have an instant. Target creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn for each swamp you control. That can be a pretty scary card because this is an all swamp deck. This is not multicolored, so that's going to be a really powerful instant in this card.
Yeah, and when you can give
Yes,
something
yeah.
negative toughness, that can sometimes be better than destroying it or dealing damage to it.
That way, at least if you can't destroy it, it can't hurt you.
Well, it can't regenerate if it's at below 1 toughness, so.
Alright, and then we have the sorcery, return target creature card from your graveyard back to the battlefield. I don't know, I think I might be playing this one first go around. This is kind of my flavor. I enjoy these kind of things. Alright.
Cranial Plating, of course, is still an existing card, but they've got it reflavored with the Necron all over again.
It's one we've seen before for sure. And then we have vehicle flying, which I saw for the first time in Neon Dynasty. I played a long time ago. I'm just now getting back into it, and so the vehicles are kind of new to me. But I noticed that there's a lot of flying vehicles in this, which is pretty cool.
All right, let's keep going. Okay, so again, like this one here had an archive. That's an existing card, but they've reflavored it for Necron, and then they've given it Necron flavor text.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love the art on it. It's really good. Mask of Memory. That one's going to be a fun one to play.
Wow, this guy can't be blocked except by 6 or more creatures. And he has Unearth. So again, more stuff out of the graveyard.
Oh yeah. I'm already liking this one. This one's going to be a really strong deck. And then this one.
Oh, it looks like that one's legendary too.
Yeah, it looks like our...
I guess you could technically use him as a commander since he's got a black color identity.
Yeah, you can. Artifact creature. Whenever one or more artifact cards leave your graveyard, create a 2/2 black Necron warrior artifact creature token.
So now we know why we have all of these tokens over there.
Yep, that's going to be fun. Ah, that's probably what this guy is right here. Alright. Flayed one, lifelink. Yeah, I'm definitely playing this deck.
Yeah, and when he enters the battlefield, mill 3 cards. So again, putting stuff into your graveyard.
I'm really liking this land.
See this Plasmancer here. When he comes into the battlefield, you get to tutor for a swamp. So as you get more stuff that comes out like that, it's going to improve the ratio of your deck.
No, absolutely. And then this is actually a land.
Yeah, this is just the Necron flavor of the existing Myriad Landscape card. That's great. That's new art.
Absolutely. But it's just more tutoring that we get to be able to pick what we need. That is a classic and one of my favorite cards, along with this one. With
oh yeah, Cage Sun. Oh, check out that art on Cage Sun. That's awesome.
Oh, absolutely. And then, of course, You
Darkness.
have to have
Mm-hmm.
darkness, which I've seen before.
That might be something worth replacing later if you're gonna rebuild the deck.
Yeah, I wonder what it's gonna look like after we play it the way it comes versus spicing it up a little bit.
It looks like a lot of these cards are just reprints with new art and flavor for the Necron with a few unique pieces that go into it.
So far.
Mm-hmm.
So far. Alright.
Yep, so that's the same one, Arcane Signet. We've all been using that in Commander. Same thing with Commander's Sphere. These are all just with Necron art.
Mind Stone, Thought Vessel.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I love that one. Ooh. Cycling. More cycling. More cycling.
Yeah, you'd think that they're putting the cycling in there just because a lot of the deck runs off of not too much mana, so they have to put the right mana balance in, but then after that, when you don't need it anymore, you can use it to start drawing.
Well, this is also turning into an artifact deck. I don't know if you noticed or not yet, but a lot of these are artifact creatures, artifact lands.
They're artifacts fueled by black.
Yeah, so this is kind of like a, I don't know, a mill life drain artifact deck.
Yeah, if you're going to rebuild this, putting affinity to artifacts is going to be strong.
Absolutely.
You can get all the artifact stuff out for cheaper. Another artifact creature.
It might already be in here, you never know. Yeah, more artifacts. This enchantment. I have not seen this enchantment before.
Creatures you control are artifacts in addition to their other types.
See, artifact deck. I saw that coming.
You know, that's going to be really strong with Darksteel Forge. Make all of your artifacts indestructible. I wonder if it's in there or not. If it's not, it might be a good add.
Definitely. I'm excited. I want to go ahead and start messing with this deck. We have a Necron Overlord too, another artifact creature, and this one has X tap, where X untaps the artifacts you control and target opponent loses X life.
Nice.
That card is...
It's like a Necron Banshee.
Man, I might be keeping that one. Alright. Then we've got more artifact creatures. Definitely an artifact creature deck. So that's good to know. I didn't see that walking into it. But
Oh, this is like a sack effect to get more acceleration. You can sack creatures, artifact creatures for...
and since everything's an artifact. Then you have something with flash, which is going to be good. More milling. Let's see.
More stuff that can be played from the graveyard.
Yep. Out of the Tomb. That's why we have all the counters. A nice enchantment.
Oh, wait, look at the second part of that.
Draw a card while your library has no cards in it. Instead, return a creature card from your graveyard. If you can't, you lose the game. That is a game changer. I have not seen that before. Have you seen that on any card?
No. So it's basically an enchantment that keeps you from dying from being milled. And then on top of that, once you get to the point where you completely milled out yourself, then it starts spitting stuff back up out of the graveyard.
I mean, I think this could take on my blue deck.
Yeah, I mean, you have to add black to it, but you could give all the enchantments indestructible and hexproof and try and keep it from getting removed. But if that gets removed when you have no library, that's going to be bad.
Well, I have the blue deck, and then I have my black-white life gain drain deck. Adding that to that one might be decent.
There's a card called Lich and a card called Necropotence. Let you skip drawing cards, you skip your draw phase, and then when you only draw cards when you spend life, if you put that out with that, then you wouldn't be forced to draw.
Alright, more tokens.
So the Catan, they're the gods that the Necrons worship. So this is, it's a 7/7 for 7 mana. And whenever it attacks, each opponent sacrifices a non-land permanent.
Yeah, but look at this. Destroy all non-artifact creatures.
That's dirty. Wow, that's great.
So it's definitely an artifact deck.
Mm-hmm.
We're just getting better and better as we go.
So basically the Necron deck is a black artifact creature deck that plays from the graveyard and mills cards.
Definitely my style. I like it already. And we have Death Touch.
And tokens too.
Lots of tokens and lots of Death Touch. I wonder if it's going to be able to... Now this one, as long as he is on the battlefield, it has all the activated abilities of all artifact cards in your graveyard.
Oh God.
Plus he has Death Touch. And it only costs 6 to get him out. That is definitely going to be a card that when it comes out, someone needs to be like, no, go away.
I wonder if anyone, when they rebuild this deck,
Vanish.
is gonna mix it with blue to be able to protect the key enchantments and stuff, but also think of Glimpse the Unthinkable with this deck. You
Oh my god.
one spell, put 10 of your own cards into the graveyard at a time, or do Traumatize and put half your deck into the graveyard.
This is gonna be fun. I'm gonna build this deck, and then I'm gonna rebuild this deck, and I might even rebuild the deck and then sell it with the pieces that need to go with it to make it even stronger.
That'd be fun.
That would definitely be cool.
This
I don't know, does anyone want to buy that? Do you want me to pimp out your deck so you get the deck, you know how to play it, and then you already have the extra cards that make it even more powerful?
some of these reprints are good, even just with the art.
More of the saga enchantments that we saw in Neon Dynasty. That's double-sided. Nope, that one's not double-sided. Insect.
The third stage in this, after 3 turns of summoning this, it brings cards out of your graveyard.
Yep. And then this one is at the beginning of your combat turn, choose an opponent. Creatures attacking the last chosen player have menace. That's kind of evil. Then we have Vigilance as well.
So this says that when he comes into play from a graveyard, you get to exile a target, permanent.
So it's basically like an instant on top of everything else.
You can pay 7 to bring it back from the graveyard, and every time that you do, it will remove something from play.
Well, what you just said about blue, adding blue in, they made an artifact. All artifact creatures you control have hexproof.
There you go.
It's already built in. So, I noticed that one. Then we have flying. We have, what is it, Wraith form?
Every time an artifact creature comes into the battlefield under your control, you get to draw a card.
More drawing cards. Whenever Ghost Arc becomes crewed, gain, let's see, each artifact creature card in your graveyard gains Unearth 3 until end of turn.
Wow.
And then more tokens. And equipped creature has lifelink.
They don't skip over this. This is a 7/7 vehicle with flying and indestructible.
Oh, I didn't even see him. And
It spits out black Necron Warrior artifact creature tokens.
yep. Okay, here you go. Legendary artifact. Add 1 mana of any color, or add 3 mana of any one color. Activate only if you control 3 or more lands with the same name. That's interesting. This is a commander deck. We can only have 1 of each. So I guess it's going to be the swamps. So make sure you have the 3 swamps out, and then this one gets you the swamps.
This actually unearths things for you as a land.
Might need to keep some of these, throw them into my other decks. I'm getting more and more excited as we go. Mutilate.
So that's like that other one, but for everything on the board.
Yep.
This is great for mono blue or mono black.
Absolutely. Well, not only that, but you have put target artifact or creature card from your graveyard back onto the battlefield under your control, and then shuffle this back into your library. So you can just keep doing that the entire game.
So this spell already existed, but that's awesome with the Necron flavor. Takes all the creatures that are currently in play, removes them, takes everything from graveyards and puts them out, and then takes all the creatures that you removed and throws them into the graveyard. Switches the living with the dead.
I mean, isn't that what these people are all about?
Yeah, graveyard removal.
The Necron?
Graveyard removal is going to be a big problem for this deck, so they're going to have answers for that.
Well, what I'm curious to see is, oh no, nails and cards don't work. Oh, wow. Wow. A Gilded Lotus. I didn't see that coming. That's amazing.
Yep, I have a Necron version of the Gilded Lotus.
And Sculpting Steel. Wow.
So this basically adds another card to your hand.
Mm-hmm. And you may cast artifact spells and colorless spells from the top of your library. You can pay 1 life and exile the top card of your library.
Good stuff.
So a question is, why would you want to exile something from your library if you're trying to play from the graveyard?
Well, because you can look at the top card of your library at any time, and then you can play the top card of your library. So if you don't like what's on top of your library, you can pay 1 life and see if there's something under it you want to cast instead.
So it's kind of like a save your ass move.
Does everything else land in there?
Yeah, everything else is land.
Do they have
And you have
art?
The amazing Warhammer 40k art, forest, flying. I mean, these are some awesome lands. I think it looks like 3 different lands, basically.
Yeah.
Those 3.
Plus the cycle lands.
Mm-hmm. So it comes with tokens as well.
Well, yeah, it's got a lot of tokens in there.
And you've got the Necron Warrior, the insect that comes with it, and I think those are all the tokens that come with it. They're just double-sided, so you can use them for both.
And they give you a thicker version of the commander too?
Oh yeah, that's the new thing that they have. Instead of the big, commander cards they used to have, it's cardboard on top of the other one, so you can find it easier in your deck.
Well, this looks like an exciting deck to play. Let's see what's in the rest of them.
And here we go for all the Chaos fans out there. Abaddon the Despoiler. Let's open it.
What's our color identity on him?
It is blue, black, and red.
Mm.
So it's going to be a very aggressive deck.
Well, that includes some demons and dragons, so that might be a fun deck to mix too. What is his ability?
Trample. And you can cast spells from your hand with mana value X or less if you have Cascade, where X is a total amount of life your opponents have lost this turn. This is going to be fun. I'm excited to play this one. I don't know, should we play the Necron versus this deck first?
I don't know, let's see how the deck works.
Alright, let's go. Alright, same thing here. We've got the instructions, we've got a life counter, we've got all the tokens, we have the box, that is chaos themed. That's pretty cool. And it has the chaos symbol as well. So it comes with its own box. So there's that. And then all the tokens that are in the deck in general. And then we've got our deck. So I think this is the one that I want to play first, just because I've been wanting to make a blue, black, white deck, but I have a feeling this is not going to go the way I think it's going to go. You have a commander with vigilance, and other creatures you control get +1 and get vigilance, and then you can tap target creature an opponent controls and investigate. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Sacrifice this artifact, draw a card. That's going to be fun too. Let me get this deck open. Alright, so we've got, I'm really liking the tokens off of this. And then you've got your box. And we've got our first, our counter. Check out this counter. And then we've got our first commander and our second choice commander. Which one would you play first? Who would you have be your commander?
This one almost has kind of a Thallid feel to it, where if you get tokens out, then you start being able to draw every time a token comes out.
So it's going to accelerate your deck.
This one has draw, but it grants vigilance. And honestly, between the two of them, I would probably end up going with this one just because you get a lot more momentum.
I mean, you can still have him in your deck and bring him out so that other creatures get vigilance. It just wouldn't be your commander. Now, I believe that's a reprint. But this one is all Warhammer 40k.
That'd be pretty strong for a sliver deck, give them all indestructible until the end of the turn.
I mean, but look at this. You have first strike and vigilance. And when a Space Marine scout enters the battlefield, if an opponent controls more lands than you do, you may search your library for a plains card, put it into the battlefield tapped, and then shuffle. So it's kind of like a land tutor built in every single time you have more Marines come out.
It's a creature fetch land, yeah.
And then you have the blue and the
this is going to be disgusting with graft. Whenever Timberwolf Cavalry deals combat damage to a player, put a +1/+1 counter on each other creature you control. That includes tokens.
And you have flash and lifelink, and you get to deal 1 damage to any target.
So for this one, he's got squad 2. Every single time that you pay 2 additional when he comes out, it makes another copy of him when you cast him, and you get to draw a card for each one of them as they come into play.
That's going to be fun. We'll check out these instant cards. This enchantment, more instant.
So again, reprint of the art, but check out the art.
I mean, you have cycling, you have exile target creature, its controller gains life equal to its power. That's going to be fun. That's just another reprint, but it's still going to be fun with this card. Then check out these artifacts.
Oh, new art for everything.
Well, look at this soul ring. I don't know which one I like better. I think I need 1 soul ring of each kind. Talisman. Same talismans that are in the other ones almost, but the art is completely different. So you're getting totally different art for each one. And then you've got legendary artifact, artifact vehicle, artifact. So these artifacts.
Well, this has the God Emperor in it. This is the Golden Throne. So if you would lose the game, instead exile the Golden Throne and your life total becomes 1. And then what's interesting here is it doesn't specify that you lose the game from life loss. So let's say you were forced to draw a card and you didn't have a library, or let's say that you got hit by Phage the Untouchable. You wouldn't lose. Instead, your life would just get set to 1, and then this would get sacrificed. But then on top of that, you can sacrifice any creature with a tap and then add 3 mana of any combination of colors.
That's going to be fun for a lot of different decks. I think that's going to be a sought after card.
That's even good for your sliver deck.
Well, these artifacts right here, and then these sorceries, look at the art. Of course, some reprints in there, but in combination with the other cards we've already seen, that's going to be a lot of fun. And then you have, ooh, Everflowing Chalice.
So again, new art.
Utter End. More tokens. Where X is that creature's toughness. So, wow. Target player sacrifices an attacking creature. You create X/1/1 white soldier tokens, where X is that creature's toughness. So if you take out an attacking, really high numbered threat, then you basically have that many 1/1 tokens. And then of course, commander creatures you control get +2/2 and have indestructible. So just some protection added in. And I think we're getting into the land now.
Yeah, it'll be the artifacts and then non-basic lands before the basic lands. And since it's a 3-color deck, you should get some good mana base out of this. Even if you're going to end up rebuilding this deck into other decks, you should be able to buy one of these commander decks and then use all of the color diversity that you have from the artifacts and the non-basic to be able to support a multicolored deck. So these commander decks could be a good choice for you to buy if you're going to be making a commander deck that shares color with it, just for the fact that you're going to get the entire mana base for your deck right out of the box.
And the artifacts that are made for it and the enchantments that are made for those colors. I mean, this is basically a starter kit for any multicolored deck that shares the same colors.
See, now this one here, that'll be good for your Crypt Rats deck, because that'll give you another way of being able to deal with a permanent you don't like.
And it's not that expensive either.
Can get rid of enchantments, can get rid of anything.
We've got some enchantments and some sorcery where we're getting more tokens. We've got lifelink, miracle.
Yeah, it costs less if you draw it as the first card you draw.
Ultramarines Honor Guard. That's an interesting card.
Other creatures you control get +1/+1. That's great.
Well, and then look how they added in the blue.
Well, check this out though. So you cast him for 4, and then every additional 2 that you pay makes copies of him, and all of them say other creatures you control get +1/+1. So if you can pump him, you can make all of your creatures and your tokens really big.
Well, when you add blue into any deck, you can start getting omniscience, or you can get a few other cards. But if you get omniscience in there, you can start casting all of your spells for nothing. We've got Flash and Vigilance. Oh wow. When he enters the battlefield, that's very marine. That's a fun card. So this is kind of a mix between the other two decks. I mean, you've got artifacts, you've got artifact creatures, you've got...
It's less chaotic though. It's more directed at direct purpose and trying to, and that's good because they're playing that theme of the Chaos Marines versus the normal Space Marines.
I mean, these are very pointed.
I do like this one, Vexus Praetor. Commanders you control of protection from everything. That would be really great.
Oh, I didn't see that.
That would be really great with a partner commander. If you have two commanders, and then you
could protect them both.
Protect them both with that card. And then you just need to put, some hexproof or something on him, indestructible hexproof.
He's only costing 4, and he's a 3/4, so he's a decent card in and of itself.
What makes him really strong is that he's got flash, which means when someone else is going to cast something on your commander, you can play him as a fast effect from your hand and basically counter the spell by making the target invalid because he has protection from the color of the spell.
And then they've wasted their spell.
And they did that same thing here with Sister. If you take a look at Sister of Silence, she has flash. She's 4 colorless, 1 blue. When Sister of Silence enters the battlefield, counter a target instant spell, sorcery spell, activated ability, or triggered ability. So not only is she a counter,
activated and triggered.
So even if even if she wasn't a creature, you could play her as a counter spell and be able to use it to counter abilities. But then on top of that, she enters in, and you can do that. What might be fun is if you could do Sister of Silence, and then you could make a copy of her with like a shapeshifter, and then bounce them back and forth.
Oh, the Dragon Cat card that has, I think it was Merge, where you can take their abilities and add it to that one. I mean, I believe it had blue in it, and that would work really well with both of those.
Yeah, there's also a spell, and I think I actually have it, a creature, and what it does is every time that you cast a spell, you can return a target permanent to owner's hand. And so one of the things that might be fun to do with her, or with that one that's got flash for protection.
Well, I mean, here's more flash right here. There's flash.
So
protection from robots.
So this is Tidespout Tyrant. Whenever you cast a spell, return target permanent to its owner's hand. If you had Tidespout out, and then you use Sister of Silence to counter a spell, once she comes into play, you could bounce her back off to your hand. You have to do it with 2 with the shapeshifter or something like that, but you could basically play her over and over again as a counter spell and use her to stop triggered abilities by returning her to your hand.
Well, not only that, but you can actually, let's see if it's in here. I saw these. We have more flash. And then we have, let's see, there was an enchantment. Here we go. Non-artifact creatures get -1/-1. Creatures you control with +1/+1 counters on them are artifacts in addition to their other types.
So that could be fun with like Darksteel Forge, and then make everything that's an artifact indestructible.
Yep. And then you've got more legendary creatures. And some of these could be commanders on their own, which is fun. Now, I haven't seen this artifact before.
Yeah, this is unique for 40k.
Whenever equipped creature attacks, create a 2/2 white warrior creature token with vigilance.
That's attacking.
That's attacking. And then attacking creatures gain menace until the end of turn. I can see that getting banned in the future. And then I believe we are on to the lands for this one. I like that enchantment. That's going to be fun. I think this is the one I'm going to play first. think I've said that about all of them.
Well, when I played 40k, and I lost all of my figurines in Katrina, by the way, so I haven't gotten to play 40k in a non-digital way for a long time. I played Tyranids, so that's the deck that I'm most excited about, and that's what I'm definitely playing first. Again, this is
roll for it.
new art for everything. I love that Terramorphic Expanse art. That's just really striking. And again, really great mana base for any deck.
I like that one.
Mm-hmm.
That art is amazing. This is very similar art to the other ones that came out. Now this, I mean, the lands that you're getting in this, if you're trying to build a multicolored deck, basically all you need to do is pick the Warhammer 40k that goes with the colors you're trying to get, and you're set.
And again, this is one of those reveal lands. So as it enters the battlefield, reveal an island or swamp card from your hand. If you don't, it comes into play tap. But if you have one of those in your hand, then this is just a dual land. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
Can't beat dual land.
And then you have your custom islands, your custom swamps, and your custom plains. It's very Space Marine.
Well, I mean, no other set other than the Space Marines is going to have a plains card with a tank on it.
It's quite amazing. Then you have your cardboard, very sturdy commander. I don't know how I feel about these commanders. I like the large cards better, personally. Now, check out all these tokens that you get. Double-sided.
All the tokens to go with all of those unique abilities.
Soldiers. I like how they're double-sided now, too.
I'm going to get more use out of them.
More soldiers. That one's... What card does that go with?
That's with that one where it says that he's got squad 2, and when he comes out, you can pay the extra to draw.
Alright. Look at the art, though. I mean, these token cards are getting more and more elaborate. Like, I was opening some of the Crimson Vow, and they had, you know, double-sided tokens that were foil, and, I mean, the tokens are getting better and better and better. I like that one. And that is that entire deck. I'm just going to let you take over on this one because you're literally jumping out of your seat to play this. You've literally grabbed it and decided you're playing it first.
Yeah, I'm a giant Tyranid nerd, and when I played Tyranids, I did like a 5,000 point army, and I didn't have any ranged weapons. I wanted to make a Tyranid army that just had melee. That's it.
Wow.
And so it was a huge disadvantage, first off, because you have to like take cover and stuff while people are shooting at you to get to them. But if you focus all of your points on melee combat, if you get to them, they're dead, even if it's like a tank. So I have big passion for Tyranids, you know, and a lot of people take shots at them because of, you know, StarCraft or H.R. Geiger, or, you know, there's a lot of stuff that kind of goes into that same theme. One of the things I'm really interested in is whether or not they're going to play the whole psychic mechanic, you know, because the Tyranids do have that that hive mind and are able to have that kind of command area around them for their troops. So I don't know how they're going to implement that, but I do see that it's green, blue, and red.
Which makes me think there's going to be tokens, number one, and...
Well, let's take a look at the commander power real quick here. Swarm Lord enters the battlefield with 2 +1/+1 counters on it for each time you cast your commander from the command zone in this game. And then whenever a creature you control the counter on it dies, draw a card. So I'm thinking this is a counter deck, not a token deck.
I think it's going to have some tokens in it, though.
Well, I mean, they're not going to pass up the opportunity to make Tyranid tokens, and who can blame them?
And, you know, all your token counters are amazing on this deck. I mean, is there anything...
Tyranid life counter. Oh, look at that.
I have a feeling that's going to be...
That's awesome.
Your new life counter for all of the decks.
Oh, and we got our custom deck box in here too, right?
Oh, hey, I said you unbox it.
Those are some pretty nice looking deck boxes. It almost makes me want to, like, for the people who want really durable deck boxes, I think that you might be able to unfold those really carefully and then laminate them.
Ooh,
And then put them back together and then seal them up with some rubber cement and be able to have some deck boxes that'll have some durability. So that might be fun.
Yeah, I mean, hell, we could do that with these and then sell them custom. So, these are your babies. So,
let's take a look. We got our primary commander, which we just went over. And that's got our +1/+1 counters on it. And then whenever a creature with a counter on it dies, draw a card. Here's our alternate commander. So that's actually got the Magus. And let's see here.
Oh,
Psychic
wow.
Psychic Stimulus.
There you go.
Oh yeah, at the beginning of combat on your turn, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. So definitely getting some counters there. And then you can tap it for 2 colorless. Then you next cast a spell with X in the mana cost or activate the ability with X in the activation cost. Copy that spell or ability. This wizard
It's gonna make you play a multicolored deck.
Yeah, I mean, even if you used her in a completely different deck, that is really, really strong.
I can see you going from
So
monocolors to multicolors already.
So we've got some unique cards to 40k, of course. There's Gene Stealers, which is our like advanced troops that they use, and it benefits. Oh, geez. When a creature attacks one of your opponents, it gets a bonus in the end of turn, and that affects everyone on the table. So when they're not attacking you, they are harder to kill. So there's incentive on the board for them to attack the other players. And if they attack you, they get a minus to their power, so they deal less damage. So people are encouraged
to gain alliances, and
that's a great
very
commander
political.
card.
But check out the Flying Death Touch and Hexproof.
Wow.
For only 3 mana.
That would be a fun card.
And it's a 2/2.
That's a fun card to make lots of copies of.
And I have a feeling there's going to be plenty of ways to copy, because if you start looking, tokens right here. More.
Mm-hmm.
And then, ooh. Check out that instant.
Return all attacking creatures to their owner's hands, yeah. Draw a card for each creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it. Those creatures gain indestructible until end of turn.
Soul Ring.
God, I love the new Soul Ring art. I think I like the Soul Ring art in the other decks a little bit more.
The first Soul Ring that we opened is probably my favorite.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's Whole Breach.
And then again, the lands with this. I mean, look at that.
So this is cool. 2 mana, 2 converted mana casting cost, sorcery. Destroy target artifact, destroy target enchantment, or destroy target artifact and target enchantment. Trying to deal with multiple threats here with 1 card.
Well, I mean, it's hard enough to get 2 different colors out, but for it only being 2, it's still going to be a hard card to cast, because you're going to have to make sure you have 1 of each. Now that one, you may play an additional land this turn, draw a card.
Yeah, we got some reprints here and some great art too.
And then here's, of course, I mean, that's basically, like I said, if you're going to try to make a multicolored
Is that from this deck?
Yes, it is. I was just about to pull that
They have
out.
a vehicle? Look at that. Goliath truck.
Well, I mean, not only that, but you've got sacrifice additional
Yeah,
cost.
Harrow is a reprint, but man, look at that art.
Add more mana. I mean, this is basically just tutoring and adding mana everywhere. All of these cards. Look at this one. I mean, just putting these together is...
I do like
kind
this
of
art
evil.
for Command Tower. I think that's awesome. I think I like the Tyranid art for Command Tower the most so far.
I think you're going to like this one.
So the Red Terror is actually one of the unique Tyranid units that you can get. And it's cool because it burrows with deep strike on the battlefield.
Well, we don't have a lot of blue, but there's that one, which is interesting. And then we've got more very green themed cards here.
So this is cool. So whenever Genestealer Patriarch attacks, put an infection counter on target creature defending player controls. Whenever a creature with an infection counter on it dies, you create a token that's a copy of that creature, except that it's a Tyranid in addition to its other types. So it's like a pod people kind of thing.
I mean, it's basically like a sliver deck.
Sort of.
You've got Reach, you've got Death Touch, you've got Ravenous, Trample, Haste, Flash, Haste.
See, this is a really interesting card in that it not only makes it so that you can use your lands to cast anything, but it also punishes people who have non-basic lands that let them do other stuff other than generate mana.
Well, I mean, look at this one. Check these out. Salvage the Dead. When he enters the battlefield, exile target player's graveyard. That is going to get rid of that first deck that we looked through. You exile the graveyard right there.
And you get a +1/+1 counter for every creature card exiled that way.
Yeah, and when you're playing out of your graveyard with that first deck, what was it? This one right here? I mean, this deck is basically going to counter that one. I mean, they're really good against each other. I think they should definitely go against each other. More Ravenous. And Ravenous is more of a green anyway, but seeing it with the blue, green, and the red.
Well, remember too that we've got that that alternate commander. Now, hold on a second for some of these. So Moloch here, he gets X +1/+1 counters, and Nexos here. This is one of the new ones here. So Nexos, basic lands you control have tap, add 2 colorless, spend this mana only on costs that contain X. And then if you remember, the alternate commander makes an additional copy of spells that have X in them. That's the Magus. So add 2 colorless when you next cast a spell with X and its mana cost or activate an ability with X, copy that spell or ability. So Moloch. All right, so taking a look here, again, we have an X casting cost creature with Flash. And then, all right, so Malanthrope, that's the exile. Winged Hive Tyrant, flying, haste. Other creatures you control with counters on them have flying and haste.
And then your commander.
The Swarm Lord, yep. And then the Zoanthrope, these are like the most psychic units of the Tyranid army, and they can blast things with their minds, like blow up tanks and stuff like that. They're like the heavy assault, and they kind of like big floating heads with tails.
I have a lot of Dune feelings from these stories.
So if you look, this one's again an X casting cost, and then Flying Ward 2 comes in with counters on it based off of what you spend, and Warp Blast. When Zoanthrope enters the battlefield, deals X damage to any target, and then you can copy the sucker. Put 2 or more of them out.
I mean,
Rings of Brighthearth is going to be a good combo with this, I think.
I think there actually might be one in here. I think I saw one. I'm not quite sure. But when I was going through these while you were looking at the other ones.
So again, another X casting cost.
Abundance. That's a good one. Oh, look at the art on this one. Here you go. I think this one is not a reprint. This one. Ooh. You could even make...
So Old One-Eye is a Carnifex. He's a unique Carnifex. Carnifex is like the Tyranid tanks, big living tank. And Old One-Eye is like an ancient Carnifex with one eye. And so he's a unique, and that's why he's legendary as well. Other creatures you control have trample. and then you create a 5/5 token.
When he enters the battlefield.
At the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, you may discard 2 cards. If you do, you can return them from the graveyard to the hand to represent as regeneration.
Mm-hmm.
Might be interesting if you had a green deck to use that as a commander.
I was just about to say he could definitely be a commander, especially with some of these other green cards in there with it, because look at these.
So Harmagants, they're like the foot soldiers, and it looks like you can keep on returning it back to your hand from the graveyard, and it comes into play with X number of +1/+1 counters.
And then you have Abundance already in the deck for you. I mean, it's a reprint, but that art is amazing, and it definitely works really well. Then you have Flash, more tokens.
So this is a 12/12, and you can remove counters from other creatures to reduce the casting cost. That's fun.
See, I knew there were going to be a lot of tokens in here.
And this is cool too, Death's Presence. You know, with this whole deck concept. Again, a lot of art reprints here.
We have more Ravenous. We have more +1 counters.
So here's our Brood Telepathy. Remember we were talking about how they were going to implement that. When Broodlord enters the battlefield, distribute X +1/+1 counters among any number of other target creatures you control. Again, we have an X casting cost.
But we have more X casting costs coming up as well. I believe they are. Nope. Oh, we are right into the lands. Okay.
Looks like we're getting good ones too.
Absolutely. So there is no Rings of Brighthearth, but that is definitely a card that you might want to sub in for some of these other ones. So you still want to play this one first?
I don't know. I'm undecided. You show off those non-basic lands for the art.
Again, this is basically a starter kit for any multicolor deck you're trying to make.
And then what?
You have it all set.
And then what about the Tyranid art for the basic lands?
Oh, I didn't forget. It's coming. You've got your mountains, your islands, your forests. I like these forests a lot. I think these are my favorite forest cards I've seen in a while. And then you've got your, I don't know how I feel about these commanders. I like the regular cards or the big ones.
Well, it's definitely good for a Sliver Queen because you want her to be huge.
That's true. Oh, here you go.
And all of our tokens.
I know. I'll let you show those off. You're going to be super excited about that.
So we got a few different kinds of tokens here. We've got our standard Tyranid tokens. And then, of course, we have the flip side. And then this is for all the Gargoyle cards. And then they've also done some for the Warriors.
Yep.
It's going to be a lot of fun.